Good evening. Why? What? Why is it doing that? Don't do that. I've pushed the wrong button. That's why. Oh no, no, no! Pushed the wrong button. There's nothing in there that was secret, by the way. For those of you who are interested in screen grabbing, I know you exist. Hello. Yeah. Good evening.
Hey,
Welcome. Good evening.
hey, happy
Um,
Christmas.
Yes, there you go. Festive jollities. Yeah, no, I pushed the wrong button. I've got a button labelled live, which is the button I do when I'm driving something, and I've got another button labelled roadmap, which is on the second row. You see, so I pushed the one labelled live because I hadn't got my brain switched on. Fortunately, my brain has now been enabled. Now, before we start road mapping, because you're going to ask, Adam, can you name the route?
It is East Coastway
Yes. What
between
am I
Brighton.
driving?
You're driving a 31,
Yeah.
unmistakable window shape there, or a toffee apple for some people. Toffee apple is the fonder name because of the little red nodule on the throttle. There you
Steady
go.
on. Steady on, because it's got a nodule on the apple. Good. That's how I like my apples, certainly. Good. Right. So we're into the last road map update of the year, and we put a load of stuff on it. I mean, absolutely loads. We'll go through some of that, but we're also going to talk about what we're going to do with the roadmap next year, and also we'll take some questions. So if you've got burning questions coming up, you'll catch on pretty quickly. Wait for the question section before you ask the questions is my strong recommendation.
And no question is allowed to be about a date,
Well,
either with one of us or about the release of anything.
yeah, we don't do release dates. Actually, that should be a question. All right, somebody ask that when we get to that point in the stream. Ask, why don't you give us dates? There you go.
There you go.
All right, okay, we'll do that when we get to that bit. So, what we got going on? Right, well, we've released a bunch of bits and pieces, and it really is a bunch of bits and pieces, and I think that's a way to sum up the roadmap as it is right now. Anyway, here's a bunch of bits and pieces.
I mean, it wasn't even intended to be. It was supposed to be more focused on the Cologne, Aachen. What was it? Aachen. The Cologne. It was supposed to be focused on the Cologne Aachen route, and actually, the release guys pulled it out the bag and added some more stuff in there that was in the upcoming section, and yeah, it's now out there. So that was really cool that they allowed a few more things to be updated before the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that and stuff like getting the sun back in the sky on PS4, although I read a couple of weeks ago that it's also gone missing on Xbox. I don't know if that's still the case or not.
Well, what we did was nobody was moaning about it on Xbox, so we actually took it from Xbox and put it on PlayStation.
No, you didn't. What was actually wrong?
It was core. It wasn't preserved, so it didn't even cross my table.
So that was
Yeah.
I
just got told it was fixed, and then everyone said Xbox was broken. So I was like, "Come on, guys!"
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we've managed to fix that hard hat collectible that was behind an invisible wall.
Yeah, that was an awesome one. The details actually on that were really cool. So thank you very much for anybody that reported that for us. I went off and explored the area, managed to find where it had been hidden, and yeah, just pulled it the other side of the fence. So that was very useful, but still a bit hidden. It's still not obvious, so
Right.
you've still got to go and find it.
You've still got to go get it, but at least you can get it now.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
All right, smashing. Okay, so Colnarken, you've done a bunch of bits and pieces on.
Yeah.
Walk us through it.
So most of it really was we had a high-speed route coming out at the end of the year, and actually we knew how much everyone had been enjoying Cologne Aachen and the Ice 3, so it was whatever I could get in that had been burning on the feedback, what had been on the forums, anything that come through the Kayaku system. I was still very much in the midst of hiring a team and getting everything set up, because obviously we had the Mastery that came out as well, so we've been working on that. So really it was what can we get in there that is mostly high speed related with the Ice 3 and Cologne Aachen. However, what I am seeing, and I hope it's pleasing people with regards to speed of fixes and the amount of fixes, is that with our little update next to the C40, putting some improvements into Sandpatch Grade, we then upped our game with how many fixes we put into Cologne Aachen. And as you'll see from this roadmap, the amount of things that have appeared either in production or in planning related to a lot of British routes means that we're getting up to speed now. You know, we've got the team, we've got an idea about the space that we're working in.
Right.
We've got a handle on the kinds of things we can get through release, the kinds of things that QA are going to pick up on. So we're very much more about focused on fixing stuff individually rather than trying to provide them big packs of updates, because they can process that a lot easier, a lot more efficiently. So yeah, it's getting exciting now. I'm really looking forward to 2021 when we'll have a full team, you know, running a good pace. We'll hopefully start smashing through a lot of the feedback that we're getting and turning stuff around, and also get onto some more juicy stuff like say the rail driver or the livery editor, more scenario planner stuff really. So I'm looking that, yeah, we're really getting up to speed now. I'm really excited about the Preserve group. So yeah.
Okay, no, that's good. I think it was Nico just said that Cologne Aachen still has, you know, there are still problems that exist on there. You're not suggesting that that's it, you've done, you're never going back to it now?
No, not at all. No. At the moment, obviously, I've had to focus on stuff that the staff I have got can deal with, and that has not included improvements to rolling stock or the sounds, if they'd come up. So actually, it was more focused on what is the team capable of delivering right now, and next year. And as you can see with the stuff that we've now got in production and the stuff that is upcoming, in planning. That the skill set is now widening and we can look at more stuff. And I'm also getting this feel of cycling through the regions like we do with our route and train releases. So having a US focus, then a UK focus, and a European focus. So we're working through that. That may change, as we've said in the past, about what the focus is, how do we prioritize stuff. So, you know, the last release was supposed to really be focused on high speed and Cologne Aachen, but actually we managed to get the hard hat fix out as well, for a US route. So, you know, we're still working through whatever we can, and the more noise that we hear, the more feedback we get, the more focus it'll give us. So.
And are you still focusing on trying to hit one or two routes each time so that the download size is kept to a friendly level?
To some extent, yes, but at the same time, it is what is the noise? You know, if I'm having to make some improvements to a particular loco, and actually that loco touches several routes, then it might be that we also touch those routes as well. So while the focus for the next update really has tried to be Bakerloo and East Coastway, actually we've still got a lot of things from Great Western and Northern Transpennine that we've been interested in, and so it's kind of grown from there really. So we will put together all the improvements that that we think we can, and then it will go, you know, out to, can we update this, can we change this, can we release this, see what the beta forum says, what the QA says. So it's very, very fluid. But sorry, the original question, no, we will always cycle back. If there's fixes or improvements or feedback needed, then yeah, we're all open for it.
Okay, so you know, we're going to keep going. Just as a clarification, kind of an idea. Sorry, the chat moves quite quickly, so I'm struggling to keep up. Cramnor, do you handle things like signals and speed limits on individual routes, or do they tend to be a core problem? So in the event that there's a busted signal or a speed limit isn't tracking correctly, you know, does that fall under your team, or does that sit elsewhere?
It will fall under our team. We have been looking at some speed limit related stuff, and actually notably the stop markers on Bakerloo line at the end of the platforms on the underground section. That one we weren't entirely sure would fall under our remit. We'd have to go back to the core team. But actually, as the skill of the team's grown, and we've investigated what is the impact of making this change, what is the knock-on effect, are we already changing those other files, are we already making improvements to those areas. Actually, we can take it on board. So really everything is about investigation and seeing, what is going to happen if we make this change. It came up a couple of roadmaps ago why we couldn't add a loading task at the start of each service on Great Western Express.
Right.
It's just 30 seconds. Why can't we get 30 seconds before the train needs to depart on Great Western Express? And when we investigated that, it turned out that if we did that, we would pretty much wipe out the Great Western Express timetable. Just adding 30 seconds has a knock-on to each train. Then each train doing its subsequent 30 seconds, it filters through the timetable and totally destroys all the timings and the movements. So that actually, for something that was seemingly very simple and we began looking into, we found out, oh my God, it's going to totally destroy it. We can't possibly do this. So
Right.
It's a case by case.
Okay. I'm just going to answer one question that came up. Natalie says she passed a green signal and it failed the scenario saying that you'd passed a red signal. It wasn't you. That was an AI train. Almost certainly. I'd stake quite a lot on that's almost certainly an AI train going through a red signal, which does happen.
I have one on the list that is possibly related to East Coastway. So yeah, we will look into it, and if we can fix it, then we will definitely endeavour to, for sure.
Okay, so that's kind of gone through releases. What have we got coming up next?
Well, the big focus really is a load of UK route improvements. So obviously we have the improvements to the scenario planner, which it was really frustrating that we couldn't get that out before Christmas. But I didn't want to put something out to then find there were more issues with it. I did want to make sure that it was absolutely solid first. I'm not promising that it's going to be perfect because you never know what the setups of different PCs are going to have an effect on, but we wanted to make sure it was in a much better place than releasing it and going, oh my God, we've got to work on it again.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. And now the team is in a really good place and up and running. We're going to start focusing on the East Coastway departure boards. I think that's going to be really exciting for the guys to put in. So, yeah.
No, that's all perfectly reasonable. I mean, we obviously don't want to release something only to find, well, actually, it didn't do what we wanted. But I mean, anybody who's been around for the last few months will know it does happen. Doesn't happen massively often, but it does happen. Yeah. So okay.
Well, a case in point is the really unfortunate disappearance of the 442. The Talent 2 from Cologne Aachen is no longer available in the scenario planner, and I was reading the comments as soon as that update went out. It is incredibly frustrating. I traced back through all the updates we did to it. I traced back the changes we made, and there were multiple gates, multiple instances, multiple tests done, and it managed to pass all of them except that visibility on the scenario planner. And the fix, it was already there. It was already ready to go. It was already in place. So I don't even know when it'll come out. It's literally in the ethos to be released. It's with the team. There was nothing more that we could do to it. So it could actually come out, well, probably not this week now because nobody is at the office, but I was expecting half that it might actually appear last week. But it's things like that, I had these updates, we made these changes, we tested everything, and then it gets released and there's a tiny change and it didn't make it, and that actually took that train away. So hopefully the 442 will be back in the scenario planner very quickly in the new year. Yeah.
Good. Because I mean, knucklehead stuff like that where you've switched it off, or it was on the things to do, but a versioning problem means that it didn't actually end up in the right one.
Yeah, it was a versioning problem because we tested it on PlayStation, on Xbox, and on PC, and when it got released, it was just a different version. It's like those air crash investigation programs where so many things have to go wrong together to cause the failure. That is what happened in this situation. But we have learned what happened. So we'll be very, very stringent on preventing that going forward.
Good question, Mr. JMB. Actually, are you able to make hot fixes on TSW2, or does every little thing have to wait for the next major patch? Well, the majority of what we're doing here is we're clustering together things that could be considered hot fixes, and sticking them in a larger group, so that we're not asking you to update every day of the week. Not to mention the fact that we have to go through Sony and Microsoft's vetting process, their own QA processes before we can release. So a hot fix, it's not something we wouldn't do. Obviously, if we release something that was massively severe, breaking one scenario, not massively severe. Right? You know, it's a right pain and we want to get it fixed, but breaking one scenario is not massively severe. Breaking the entire route, that's pretty severe. So we would want to turn around a fix for that as quickly as can be. So that's where you kind of draw the line. We try and fix as much as we can and then bundle those into updates. But were, for whatever reason, were something absolutely wrecked, we would try and fix that as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, it's actually the release team is separate from the preservation crew, is separate from the dev team, is separate from the publishing team. Actually, it's the release team's job to schedule and manage and coordinate what is coming out when, how big is it, what's the impact going to be, you know. So this is why stuff can happen on the roadmap and we can have lots in next arrival and upcoming, but those things could shift and move around, and stuff can go from in production straight into next arrival without even going through upcoming, because actually there is a team that coordinates those releases. So really from the preserve crew's position, it's a case of let's do the work, let's make the improvements, and then they get released at the most opportune moment. So
right. Chufan says, so we did a hot fix for Munich Augsburg on Xbox and PlayStation when we'd inadvertently left layers able to be turned on. Absolutely right. Because that would have crashed people's consoles. No, that one needed getting rid of as quickly as possible, because it was incredibly easy to fix, very, very repeatable, and I mean, don't forget, the vast majority of people who are playing the game, they don't read the roadmap, they don't watch the streams, they don't tune into the forums or hang out on Discord or are a member of the Facebook group or any of that kind of business. The vast majority of people playing the game just play the game. So they could stumble across stuff, have no idea what's causing it. And if it crashes their entire console, well, that's not going to look good. So that's the kind of situation where we would put out something urgently to get it addressed. Right, so we've got the great wet. So we've got the red signals in Scenario Planner, which we said stupidly about a month and a half ago was an easy fix, and then QA said you haven't fixed it.
Yes,
have you fixed it now?
Because we got it wrong the first time, they were significantly more thorough with checking every single detail, dotting every I, crossing every T, and when they went through with an extremely fine-tooth comb, there wasn't enough. There was still some issues that they found. So that's a case where we knew that there was a red signal issue in this particular location. So we ran off, we went and fixed that bit, and then we didn't focus on the rest because nobody had mentioned any problems with the rest of it. We just focused on that one thing, put it through testing, and sure enough, an issue came up somewhere else. So it is really good that they were checking. And we didn't just put it out there and then go, oh my God, now the issues have been moved.
That's what they're supposed to do.
Exactly.
They are supposed to make your life miserable by saying, no, it's not ready yet. Go back and do some more work on it.
But what it has meant is that I've been able to expand on the details as well. So there's going to be a lot more functionality available, a lot more, well, I say functionality, but a lot more locations available to be used in the Scenario Planner, which is really, really fun. I've been having some great fun with certainly Great Western and Northern Transpennine so far, and it could well lead to how we implement improvements in Scenario Planner in future routes. So we'll see.
People are asking why I stopped at this station. I mean, because it's not a very long route. this. This particular run is not very long, and I didn't want it to loop round more than twice. You see, so I'm stopping when I shouldn't do in order to do that. That's all right. You wait till we get to the next stop. It's even better. Oh, dearie me, do I make a mess of that? But anyway, that's spoilers. What are we talking on here? Where was that? I saw something that I was going to talk about. Oh no, it's on the roadmap. Oh yeah, that's convenient. So we've got a fix for the HST getting its acceleration curve done correctly. What was going on there then?
It was improvements to the adhesion and the physics system as part of the Train Sim World 2 update, and I think an extra 0 was placed on the end of the train heating system, or the ETH, the electrical train heating system, which meant that a lot more power was being drawn from the locomotive to the coach systems, the carriage systems, than is actually prototypical. And it's one of those things where, you know, it looks great, it's all in place, we've done everything we want to do, but it gets released, and then you go, oh, hang on a minute, and you can instantly see the problem. You can see the wood for the trees, as it were. And yeah, so there was a tiny little issue there, one number just a little bit too big, so we've undone that. However, what we have noticed on this roadmap is that it's in both next arrival and upcoming.
Well, that's good.
So,
that way you can be doubly certain that it's happening. So I can't take responsibility for it this time around. It's not my doing.
Well, that kind of goes to show that we've tried really hard to make sure the wording is correct on this one. So
I simplified the wording. In fact, I went through a few of these and simplified the wording because I just kind of went like, I'll just tell people what it does. We don't need to go quite so flipping granular on this one.
I'm a Virgo. I'm a stickler for detail.
Yeah. Well, you know, stop it. Okay, right. Okay, so let's move on to upcoming. Actually, no, we got one more. We got an upgrade coming to the livery designer compatibility for East Coastway. That is now ready to go.
So it's ready to go into QA for sure.
Right.
So fingers crossed they're happy with it. So yeah, it's really just a case of now we're working through the preserved collection again. From feedback and forum discussions and stuff, we asked what were the trains that you're interested to see the most, and luckily this was one of them, because actually we were working on this before that question went out, and the two coincided, so that was really cool. But it also shows we've packaged all of those trains together. We're not I'm not aware that we're going to release individual train improvements, say inside a whole DLC. So every train that comes with the route, with probably the way it's going to go, that every train that comes with the route will be upgraded before that pack gets upgraded.
Okay. Well, I mean, obviously there's going to be some times that doesn't happen, sometimes when it does. So, I mean, we should always be a little wary of saying always, because anything can and will happen. Okay, right. Okay, so next, let's talk upcoming. We've got some invisible wall action. We've got some CCTV action. They've moved up. And, of course, Southeastern High Speed London St Pancras to Faversham.
Yes!
Is
a route very
close
to Dovetail Games' heart, yeah.
Getting a little closer. Now, what everybody wants to know, the Train Sim World 2 survey is out at the moment. If you haven't answered it yet, please do. It gives you the chance to give us your opinion on what we should be doing next, and where we're going right, where we're going wrong, and what you think is going to be most important. Links are everywhere, frankly. You should get some through email, but if not, it's on the Facebook page. It's up on Twitter, I believe. It's up on.
I think I saw it on Instagram.
Is it on the Instagram as well?
Yeah.
I can't imagine that's going to get many clicks, but hey, stick it on the gram. Why not? But go give your opinion. Anyway, I've started reading through some of the responses there because I'm Dr. Survey. So the feedback that we've been getting so far, particularly on the roadmap and particularly on streams, actually, has been really, really helpful. I'll go through some of the roadmap stuff shortly, but one of the questions...
Is it a survey that we can take as well, or is that
No,
purely
well,
for...
yeah, if you like. I mean...
Being a stickler for detail, I like a good survey.
Yeah, I mean, it's you. I mean, you will prejudice the results, right?
Well, if
I
you've
mean,
got
when you go in and give it a
thousands,
5 out
one
of
little-
5, I mean, that's going to make things much appear different to how they are. Although that said, we've got a couple of thousand responses already. You're not going to make that much of a difference. Don't knock yourself out.
One vote does make a difference.
Yeah, well, so don't then, right? Look, you get to have a vote inside the building. You don't need one in the survey. Clown.
That's true. That's very true.
So pack it in. But one question, if you let me finish, I know it's usually me cutting you off. One question that came up, or one observation that came up a few times in feedback on the roadmap process, is why don't we give any dates out? Why this would be so much more useful if you were to put dates on stuff, even if they were only vague. And that's
It's a vague
not...
date. A date is either a date or it's not.
No.
How can you be vague about
No. I mean, if we were to say everything on the roadmap will be out in 2021, we'd be wrong. I guarantee it. I guarantee not everything on this list will be out in 2021, because some of it will get dropped, some of it won't be addressed. We'll have some stuff that says actually the resource we were going to use to put that together isn't happening anymore. We can't make that guarantee. We don't give dates on the roadmap, because what the roadmap is for is to tell you what stage of development it is in. Now, sometimes it will jump. Something may go from in planning to released in the space of one update to the next one, but that tends to be because it's really small. Really small. But big stuff, it will stay on the roadmap for ages and ages and ages and ages and ages. And then all of a sudden it will move to upcoming, and you'll go, oh, and what does that mean? It means that it's entered QA. It means that we're now heavily into QA tracking down problems and then development fixing them, and then QA tracking down more problems and development fixing them. Now, the QA process kicks off very early in development. They test the entire time that the route is in development, but they go through a full test plan on a route or a train or a loco or whatever it is. They put together a proper plan of test and go through it when it enters what we call the upcoming phase here, but obviously in development it's called something else entirely. QA, I would imagine. And then once it moves up to next release, that doesn't mean it's finished the QA process. It means that we anticipate it finishing the QA process, because the number of outstanding issues that it has are only slight, and therefore we've got a high level of confidence that it can now come out in one of the next updates that we do. Again, something will move from next release and move backwards at some point. Yeah, I don't know if we've seen it already. But
that was the red signal issue, wasn't
that was the red signal issue. That was in next release, and it moved back because it needed more work. And that's what this is for. This is not about allowing you to set your calendar for when to expect something to come out. This is about letting you know what we're working on, and we've rather diluted. Apparently we're into this subject now. We'll come back to the roadmap subject in a minute. We might as well get this done now. And we've rather diluted the original purpose of the roadmap, which was to let you know how the game overall is evolving, and what those larger projects are that we're working on. And we'll with the putting in routes and locos and all that kind of stuff was more so that you could see, actually, have you got that thing that I like? So that you won't be constantly hanging on, maybe the next one will be my favourite route. Well, you'll know, because you can see all of the next ones that we've got lined up in one place. So you're not going to be half expecting something that is nowhere near development. That's what it's for. But over time, we've started putting in a lot more of Adam stuff, so a lot more preservation crew tweaks and upgrades and minor twiddles of dials and knobs in order to. I've lost my sentence there. I had one, but it's kind of gone. We put it in there because it was being worked on. Same goes for bug fixes and investigations and all of that kind of stuff. Is we stuck it in the roadmap because it felt like it should live in there, but it's now got to the point where clearly we're putting in way too much stuff, and therefore the bigger, more interesting
one area
bits,
as well.
and the bigger, more interesting stuff is getting lost in that mix. What we want to therefore do is make the roadmap easier to read, so that those who haven't got 45 minutes to study every single line and try and understand what that actually means, instead you can go through it in a couple of minutes and get a good feel for what's coming up. But then, equally, you still want that level of granularity of what we're actually working on. So in the new year, we're going to overhaul the whole roadmap top to bottom, and we'll stick out separate lists of bits that are being fixed on, so you can see what's being worked on, but we'll group those together when it comes to putting them on the roadmap, because that way you're not drowning under mountains of fixes and possibilities and this, that and the other.
Not that they're not interesting to read though.
I think they're very interesting to read if that's the route that you're most engaged with, right? If that's the one you're playing the most, and we've got some improvements coming up, you want to read that. So what we want to do is strip the main roadmap down to be a little bit easier to digest, and then maybe put some of the detail somewhere else instead. And then we can cover questions on those, and we can, as we do already, do some questions here on the stream as well.
And am I right in thinking that actually the survey has areas that you can request stuff? Do you like the roadmap? Can the roadmap change?
It does. You're answering it now, aren't you? You are answering it now, aren't you? Yeah, I thought you might be. You can't help yourself. You're a disgrace. Yes, it does. The survey has the opportunity for you to feedback on what we do on the roadmap and all of that kind of stuff.
Cool.
So there you go. Something else we missed. Alex just asked about Raildriver. Raildriver, yes, it is just for PC. But it's.
Look, it's legally blurred.
You're legally blurred. So there you go. That was a Raildriver going on there. It's a PC only peripheral. It's nothing to do. We don't make it. It's not something we make. But it would be wrong to have a train simulator that doesn't support Raildriver, in my opinion. Anyway, so we've done it. It's in a beta phase at the moment, and there is the opportunity to give your feedback over on the forum in the PC section. Please give us your feedback if you're using it. It'll also run a joystick now as well, won't it?
It's the same interface, yeah.
Same interface, right?
The reason I've got the Raildriver unit as well is that the main dev team have obviously done the beta release, and the Dovetail now want to see preserved collection. They want to know what's it going to take, what's the workflow, what's it going to cost. Hang on.
Matt's just chucked in. Joysticks aren't supported in the current beta. There you go. All right. Thank you, Matt. See, look, he can't help himself. He turns up to make sure that we're both being accurate. And that's not unreasonable. He's clearly met us. I need to get this out of the way as well. I said I was going to talk about what the big surprise was on the roadmap. As you can see, there is no big surprise on the roadmap, and that's because it's twofold. I'd originally intended to drop one or more things that I'm involved in onto the roadmap that you would get all quite excited about, and it was felt by those wiser than me that dropping something that might fuel a lot of speculation about immediately before the studio shuts down for a week and a half, so nobody was able to kind of stay on top of that speculation, was probably not a great idea. Plus, by announcing in January instead what these two things are, two or more or less, could be. I think it's probably going to be two. We'd be able to have some supporting documentation as well. So some more information about what the project actually is, or projects. There you go. Vague as you like. Yeah.
Some people know. They're like, Adam, can you just spill it? Can you accidentally announce it?
No, don't. You won't, Adam. I trust you. That's fine. Matt won't.
He hasn't told me. Yeah. Reserve collection.
Don't lie to them. You know what it is.
It's not in my remit. I'm not interested.
Yeah. It's good though, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, all right. Okay. Okay, so there you go. So that's a little bit of changes that are coming up. Let's talk about sound.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. In planning section, you are investigating the sound on what we're looking at there. Probably about 10 different logos.
Yes.
What?
DLC, yeah. So basically, this was also feedback from the community that we had one line on the roadmap that said, Preserve Collection is suffering from some sound issues. Investigate. So we have started to expand that out. What are the things that have been reported? Where are the areas that we need to look that have been said need improving? And these are the ones that were at the top of the list. So as is always with the roadmap, if it's not on the roadmap, we don't currently have plans for it. At the moment, we have we're firming up plans to start looking at these trains and these routes when the audio guy, the tech guy that I've got starts working on them in the new year. When they come out, I can't say, but these are the ones that were most reported, so they'll be they're the ones that are going to come up.
So they're in the investigation stage right now, and I have to be, the party pooper here. It doesn't mean that any changes will occur, right?
Correct.
Very good.
Yeah, I mean,
good. No, you're trying to cover yourself there. Don't. Look, saying the tough but honest and simple answer is the right way to go. So just stick with correct. Everybody likes that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that is why I'm not a community manager.
Okay, good. Yeah, fine. Nice one, Adam. Yeah, so with that, these were the ones that were most heavily reported as having new problems emerge after going through the initial preservation kind of routine. Because when we were preserving the routes and the locos, it sounds like we're sticking them in a jar and filling it full of vinegar. But the upshot is that we basically had to rebuild all of the routes. And while we had all of the parts off which to work, there was an awful lot of kind of replugging everything in and then making sure it's all in the right place afterwards. And somewhere during that process, there were several incidences of the sound having become less somehow. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the ground moved beneath us as we were porting over. The upgrade to Unreal Engine changed the way sound worked as well. So we had
talking
to
for 30 seconds.
it.
I've got Jamie, who's decided that while I'm in the middle of a stream is the perfect time to ask me a question. I'm just going to yell at him. Hang on.
So yeah, it was a case of we were preserving the DLCs, the routes of the trains, and then we had to factor in the change to the audio engine for Unreal 426, and that meant that things were changing from two directions. We understood how to get some of the trains correct, and it may be less than desirable that some of the changes to other trains. So we're going to investigate what we can do about those, if we can do anything, or if that is the way they're going to sound. So it may be that we have to rope in the core team as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But they're all under investigation.
Well, you've got to check
it's on the roadmap, so we have plans for it.
You've got to check the obvious stuff first, though, right? So it's like, does it get louder when you open the window? Right?
Absolutely.
That kind of stuff. But then, there's loops and mixing and all of that kind of stuff is, it's all in there.
The mixing. The mixing is the weird bit, yeah.
The mixing is going to be the winner. Someone else asked about, so do we have to rebuild the locos again to make them compliant with the livery editor?
Yes, actually, the livery editor bit does require a level of rebuilding. Yeah, it does. That's why we have a train artist, an artist dedicated to working on specifically trains, not just livery designer, but actually the trains themselves. I need a dedicated resource to be able to cope with this. Yeah.
You know what else? We should have a conversation about this. Well, let's get you a dedicated sound person in addition to the team that you already have. I think that would be I think that'd be a winner.
Well, I've also got my eye on a UI designer because I keep hearing that one coming up a lot.
UI designer would be helpful. Don't doubt that in the slightest. Yeah. I don't know. No, you know what you should build? Your own company, Adam. You should take flight and go. We'll fix that up for you. I'm only going to charge you a small amount. Hang on, the boss watches this sometimes.
Yeah, and, I've just seen an awesome comment by Matt. Actually, Matt is correcting me again. That shows the awesomeness. We are talking 423 is Train Sim World 2 at the moment. 426 is because I'm looking at what else is on the horizon. So my apologies. Train Sim World 2 is on 423.
Did you just announce that then, Adam? Did you?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I think 426 is a version that's out there. So that is what the version is. There's Unreal 5. We talk about Unreal 5. We talk about PlayStation 5. So
yeah, all right. No. Look, don't try and cover yourself by making it worse. Yeah, that's not how you don't dig a deeper hole, Adam. You should know that by now. Other improvements we've got coming up are the expansions to the timetable on Bakerloo line, and here's the thing with that one. I could well see that not happening, and it's purely because of how complicated it is, because it's a dispatcher issue. It's a big one. It's something we definitely want to do, and it's been on there since the start. If it was easy, we'd have done it already. But
and this has the epic Matt Huddleston involved as well. He is right at the heart of that problem, and we're still struggling with it. So
yeah, so it's. I hate to say it's complicated, but it's actually stupidly complicated. Because if you get it wrong, the entire network grinds to a halt. Not just on one route, not just on one service, but on all of them. If you, for example, are picking up a service at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the game simulates all of the services that are running, so it can put them in the right place. So if we've broken that somewhere, then it will break every service, not just one of them, and that then becomes a real mission to unpick. And part of that problem exists. I'm nicking a lot of Matt here because I've got him to explain it to me, because I don't get why it's so complicated. I build stuff in other train-related titles where I've got 50 trains running in and out of something or other, and my signals can handle it. What's wrong with yours? And he explained it to me, and I went, oh, okay, I get it. And it's one part timetabling and one part the inability for automated systems, so the dispatcher in this case, to kind of go, actually, I won't put it on that platform. I'll put it on this one, because that way this faster service can go through. And that's what happens in the real world, and we don't yet have a way of replicating it. Is that ability to see ahead and think, actually, this is quite an optimum route through here. So it's a smarter dispatcher is what it is the kind of the holy grail. Otherwise, it becomes just how much stuff can we cram into a route without the whole thing falling over. So the same is in part true when it comes to layers for routes on console. But equally, we have to complete work on optimization on those routes in order to be able to support the extra stuff running on it. Otherwise, rather like a multi-hundred million euro budget game that came out not so long ago, you might find those on the base unit consoles of the previous generation watching a slideshow. Now, I know we all like to say that the game is basically a slideshow if it's running at 20 frames a second, but an actual slideshow where you're getting 2 frames a second. That's not good. And then, of course, it all crashes and falls apart, and it's all our fault. Rightly so, it would be all our fault. So that's what's taking the time, is to get that optimization done. We could.
We have attempted 2 or 3. We've taken 2 or 3 different approaches to the Bakerloo timetable, and not been able to improve it beyond what it is at the moment. So yeah, we're finding that one really, really difficult.
Can we elaborate more on Great Western Express's 70s multiple timetable support? Please, no. Not really, not yet, not today.
There's nothing for me to preserve yet. So
yeah,
it's not on my radar.
So it's not on Adam's radar, and I'm not fully briefed is a good place to start. Also, we want to make a proper feature out of that so that it's there, properly explained, rather than someone in a yellow t-shirt hand-fistedly trying to word their way through it. So you're just going to have to hang on for that one. That one will be coming in the new year. Good. Right. Is there anything else big? Oh, one other thing that's big. We've been lacking when it comes to the manuals over the course of the year. On occasion, manuals haven't turned up at all. They have turned up later, but that's no good. You want a manual when you first get the thing. You don't want it 3 months later when you've already figured it all out. But we have today, I believe, released the first video tutorial, which is supposed to be the supporting character to a written manual. And that's available now on the YouTube channel, and it's for the ICE 3M. Let us know what you think. Does it go into sufficient detail? I think you're possibly going to need the partner, the partner tutorial to cover PZB, LZB, and CIFA for that route. But it's designed so that if you've never driven it before, and in fact, if this is the first time you've driven any kind of train at all, operated a train at all, whichever verb you want to use, a train at all, that it gives you everything you need to get rolling. Can you make Mr. JMB, good question. Can you make a link to the video in game? No, not really. I was talking on the Discord, the TSC Discord earlier on, about the website, the website. I don't know why I pronounce it website. I just felt like it. The Dovetail Games website. It uses a set of tools to build web pages, and they're a little bit limited in terms of what we can do with them. And that's partly so that we can have that then visible within the game itself when we need to. It's because it can support the output of news feeds in a format that we can work with. The problem with doing stuff in the front end of Unreal is that you have to build bespoke stuff to work in the front end of Unreal. And of course, don't forget, it needs to work on consoles and on PC. And so it's a little more complicated than just embedding it in there. The videos, for example, that are the introduction videos and stuff like that, they're not proper videos. They're kind of gaming coded video type cleverness, that sort of stuff. So it's a bit more complicated than that. But we'll see what we're doing. Am I going to be wearing a proper Christmas sweater tomorrow? No, I don't believe in them.
You don't?
No.
I was going to say it's complicated seems to be a theme this evening. I'm hearing that phrase repeatedly.
No, the thing about it's complicated, and we've wound people up by saying that it's complicated. So whenever we say that something's complicated, we do need to explain what's complicated about it, and that's the reason that we do it.
Well, we wouldn't have a dedicated preservation crew if things weren't complicated in the first place to resolve. So
yeah. Why do they release unfinished DLC? Give us a specific example of something you think is unfinished, Aladdin, because it might not be as fully featured or as action-packed or as jam-filled full of stuff as you might want. But in terms of what we've designed and then released, we don't usually cut features from add-ons that we release. They are usually what we've designed. So if you feel that they're a bit thin, well, okay, that's fine. That's a subjective point of view, and you're allowed to have it. And if we do that often enough, well, then I suspect you probably won't get any more, which is not what we want to do. But if you give us proper feedback on why haven't you done this and that and this and that, where's the thing and the whatnot, and all of that business.
Even the survey says, there's opportunities for feedback.
Yeah, so it's not so much that it's unfinished. Yeah, the add-ons that we release sometimes come with problems. We know that. They're always going to. Even if we were to spend 5 times as much time QAing as we do now. Hold on, no, the wags are going to say, well, if you don't spend any time QAing, then 5 times as much is exactly the same amount. Ha 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 ha, because I'm clever. Okay, all right. So let's say that we were to spend a year QAing a route before putting it out. Would there be fewer bugs? Yes. There you go. That's fairly straightforward. Would there be no bugs? No. There will be problems no matter what. Because the one thing that a QA team can't replicate is tens of thousands of people all playing it at once in unique, different and weird ways. I routinely, for those of you who saw the LGV stream on Thursday, turns out I found one that QA had missed. Well, I found 2, in fact, on the same run. Yeah. Firstly, I found that you could. I found
that's
that
coming my direction in the new year. Then?
Instead of using the LGV power, I could use AC. I found that worked just fine. Of course, me being oblivious to what I should have been using, I assumed that was working correctly. And then I proceeded to flip the train off the track by doing nothing. Wow. I did nothing, and the train flipped off the track. There you go.
Did you do nothing when the 37 flipped off the track?
No, more often than not, if a train flips off the track and I'm driving it, it's usually pretty obvious what I've done. But that's because I drive these things in an unconventional way. I don't in a non-traditional fashion. I drive it as I find it.
Well, that's partly the joy of simulators.
Yeah.
You can kind of do what you like.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, right. Let's turn our attention to general questions that are coming up through the chat. Let's try and get a broad theme at a time going. But you've got questions. We'll try and answer them. Let's go with that. We've never seen Adam drive a train. This is a good point. If only there were an opportunity for you to have to do some driving soon. I think end of January might be a good time for you to get involved.
The first time we were a duo on Northern Transpennine. There's actually one of the top clips on our Twitch channel is how I awesomely stopped at a station.
All right, if you say so.
Didn't back up at all.
No, if you say so. Gareth says, even if QA team does find an issue, doesn't mean it will be fixed. It might be a really minor issue that's massively complex to fix. Yeah, never blame QA. QA's job is just to find stuff, not to fix it. Sometimes they won't find it, but there you go. Leo asks, have we got any screenshots for Southeastern High Speed? No. No, we're not here to sell you anything, right? This is not we're persuading you to buy some new thing. No, that's not what this stream is about. It's basically telling you what we're working on. We don't have any screenshots to show off at the moment. How long is the Cane Creek map? Any ideas?
40 miles.
You think it's 40?
I'm feeling confident. In that region, 30 to 40.
All right, I'll take the under on that one.
Under.
All right, okay. So I'll go for 39. Right, there we are. We don't know. It's not something either of us work on directly. Will collectibles be fixed on Roosignord and Long Island Railroad? If we've got the problems listed, if they've been reported, then yeah, we'll get to them at some point. Exactly when will be. It depends how far down the list of priorities that is. But yeah, it's the kind of thing that we'd go after. Tube fan, Munich layers. I talked about that 5 minutes ago. Rewind the stream.
Yeah, it's on the roadmap. Incidentally, Cane Creek is 35 miles. So.
35. I was right with the under. I mean, that's not going to make anyone happy, but it's all about how much good stuff is condensed into that route.
Yeah. To me, it's all about the gameplay. What will we be doing with that route?
Yeah. Will we ever be able to use portals to spawn AI trains in the scenario designer? Good question, because that is the secret sauce to getting a lot more action going in the scenarios that you've got planned. We want to talk scenario planner and livery designer 2.0 at some point, because no work has started on either, so the 2.0 version of both of these tools, but they are not tools that we're just going to go, ta-da, that's it, that's your lot. We're not there yet. So we need to talk more about that, and portals certainly in the scenario planner are really important. So consider that a conversation impending. Aaron, are you guys having any more London Underground routes planned? Unfortunately, if you were to look at the roadmap, you would see everything we currently have planned. Everything. All of the routes that we currently have planned are on there. We've got another handful that we're discussing about whether we should do or not, and we've got some very early poke this, poke that, poke the other. No, we won't tell you what they are, because a good 50 to 75% of those won't make the cut. So I'm not going to get your hopes up about something that we're poking with a stick, only to find out, no, actually it's not viable. Wait until it appears on the roadmap, and then you will know what it is that we're working on. So there's no more London Underground going on at the moment. What's the difference
the hottest
between...
burger? I'm going to jump in. The hottest burger says, is there any update tomorrow or this week? There are no more releases. As far as I'm aware, there are no more releases now until the new year.
Pretty certain that's 100% no. That you're done for 2020. What you've got now is what you've got.
Yeah.
The only way you can get an update for your copy of Train Sim World 2 now is to go and buy some more DLC. Speaking of which, someone earlier on, and I forget who it was, asked whether we were going to introduce some sort of function for selective installation of DLC, particularly important on console, where your disk space is quite limited, and if you've got quite a bit of DLC going on, that starts to become a bit of a problem. So, for example, let's say I own East Coastway, which is what we're playing in the background here, but I don't want it installed at the moment. I want to be able to check a box, uninstall East Coastway, and then carry on with everything else that I've got.
So I don't know if my Xbox does anything different, but I can do that. I can install and uninstall DLC as I choose.
Okay, maybe it's just a PlayStation thing, because it was definitely a PlayStation question. Okay, right, okay, what do we got else going on here? Why is Platform 5 at lose, missing from Scenario Planner?
All I would say there is that it's probably initial release, and if we look at improving the Scenario Planner on East Coastway, that could well come in, just like we've seen improvements to Great Western and Northern Transpennine Scenario Planners. So at the moment there are no plans for it, but there is no reason that it might not appear in the future. It's just...
okay, no, yep, no, that's good. No, you've done the job there. What engines will be included on Cane Creek? Well, checking the roadmap here, you've got a Union Pacific AC 4400 CW and an SD 40-2. There you go. I'm going to take that as gospel. Any more detail for BR Blue at all? Loco count and GW appearance changes? No detail for you there. Will the Class 43 HST be able to get up to 125 a lot quicker when the fix is in?
I wouldn't say a lot quicker. I'd say more prototypically.
Prototypically,
it may still be
as
slow.
you would expect it to do in the real world.
Yes.
Is a fix coming for the 442 Talent 2 on Con Arkan, so you can use it again in Scenario Planner?
Yes, as soon as possible. It's already left the building, so I don't know
it
where
hasn't left the building. It's left your department.
No, it's even left the release department as well. So I don't know when that fix is going to appear.
Right. Okay.
Imminently is what I'm aware of.
Liam suggests that unless there's an emergency patch. Thing is, Liam, we're not releasing anything new. The only time that we need to do an emergency patch is if we break something. Then we have to go fix it again. We're not releasing anything more, so there is nothing for us to fix. No, hold on. Let me reword that. So we're not releasing anything more. So there are no further opportunities for us to break anything this year. And therefore, there is going to be no requirement for an emergency badge. Right. Oh, Joe Smo says we're dodging tough questions. All right,
Yes.
Joe, bang it in. What you got? We can only answer tough questions if we see them. I'm skimming through as many of these as possible.
I never actually know how many people are in the chat. I never see that number.
580 at the moment.
There you go. Every single one of those is asking a question blind.
Say Louis again. I just did. Louis. It's a stupid word and it defies correct pronunciation. When will we start to see new DLC appearing on the roadmap? When it's locked in.
When there are plans.
Yeah, it will enter in planning as soon as it enters planning. There's kind of some investigation going on here, and this is probably the one area where we don't tell you where work's going on, is when we're evaluating stuff to be included, because as mentioned before, you would just get only to be let down, and we really don't want to let anybody down as much as possible. So yeah, we'll add it as soon as we've gone, we're doing that one.
Yep. There's
I
a
answered
question
that.
about
Am I getting repeats here?
Yes, possibly. Will the collectibles be fixed on Russ Ignored on Long Island Railroad?
We answered that one. That's the
I
one I
was
thought
gonna
was
say-
a repeat. Yes.
Well, I was going to say, if it's in the support system, if it's been reported,
That's
if
the
there's
answer
feedback,
I gave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
no.
we're repeating the answer as well then.
Yeah, repeat the question, repeat the answer. Why are no passengers ever on the TGV in timetable mode on Xbox? Actually, I've seen that too. You might want to stick that on have a look and see what you can find. I think it's been reported a few times already, but it might not have crossed your radar, because obviously the pair of us are on holiday at the moment, independently. More so.
Radar now, so we can.
But yeah, so it's
On the radar. It's not on the roadmap.
it's not on the roadmap, but it can't be on the roadmap because we've just published it. It could be on the roadmap next time around. Have a look at it and see if you see it as well, because certainly I'm running a scarce number of people on TGV.
Brandon Hobbs says, I don't see Canadian National Oakville Subdivision on sale on Xbox Store. On sale as in discount, because I definitely have that installed on my Xbox, so it's definitely available.
What does expand WSR substitution mean?
Question to me or the community?
I'm asking you.
So, just like we've seen again, we've seen improvements on Great Western and Northern Transpennine. There's been a lot of feedback about people want to do more with the West Somerset Railway route. So we're going to look at what we can do. Is there anything else we can open up? We definitely want to bring the 31 back. It disappeared. So yeah, it's more of a general thing of it's on the plan to enable more possibilities on West Somerset.
Yeah. We got a couple here which are easy. Speed Slayer says, will there be more DLC when we're in the office? No.
No.
We're running pretty much at the same capacity that we always do. Where you will see more add-ons start to turn up is as more external studios start working with us on producing it. We're looking at several studios to work with next year. Nothing to announce right now, but
yeah, it's actually been really exciting that we've been able to maintain our output moving to home. I've really been impressed. I've really enjoyed it.
I would say reassuring more than exciting. No one's excited about, jeepers, I can work just as hard here as I can in the office. No, it's more about, hey, we can actually get as much done at home as we do when we're all together in one place. There is undoubtedly greater efficiency by having everybody in the studio, but at the same time, the learning curve that we're going through in working remotely means that actually we're improving all the time at getting better at working remotely. Randall says, do you think we'll add any Amtrak content? More than likely, nothing to announce. Yeah. I don't see TSW, Canadian National Oakville Subdivision, for sale on the Xbox Store.
Deja vu.
What? Did you already say that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What did you say? What did you answer?
We answer again. I'm definitely playing it on my Xbox, so it should definitely be there.
No, it doesn't
Whether
mean
it's a
that
sale
doesn't mean you found
discount.
it on the store though.
Yeah. I get retail keys like everybody else does. Yeah.
Yeah. How often will Mastery be updated, and why is there no community challenge? Well,
That's going to be one for Dovetail Live.
it is, but the Mastery, I mean, you could almost consider Mastery to be in a kind of beta phase at the moment, because we know it's got a couple of wobbles in there, and they'll settle down once we identify where it's bottlenecking data and where it's not quite feeding through correctly. Why is there no community challenge at the moment? Just because there isn't one. I don't know. I don't look after community challenges. Who does? That's Dovetail Live again, isn't it?
Yes, it will be. Yeah.
Thank you, Adam. They move in a strange and beautiful way. So that's a Dovetail Live question. If Charles is watching,
it
he can tell
shows
me.
how many different departments.
No, hold on. I've got Mike.
Mike's
Got an answer. Mike has an answer for that
Right.
one. Say we keep him around. Yeah. Mike's not on holiday, incidentally. Everybody else is, and he's dragged us all in to do stuff.
Yes.
We have a Mastery Community Challenge live at the moment, says Mike. So there you go. Shows what I know. Screen pops up. I go, get out of the way. I just want to drive a train. No, hold on. That's not what I should be advocating in the slightest. Is there any information regarding adding extra PIS to preserved collection on a case-by-case basis where it feels appropriate? You got a better answer?
No.
On a case-by-case basis when it feels appropriate.
Yeah.
It can be done, let's put it that way. Can we play this online? No, not at the moment. It is a single-player experience. Actually, I should stop saying not at the moment. I should just be able to say no. You're so conditioned to try and give a softer answer.
Well, also, you just want to be positive. You know?
Yeah, you want to say something nice
we
about it.
love what we do.
Oh,
so
someday maybe, but no. Just say what is, not what might be.
Yeah,
Right? Okay. Yeah.
Is it
Why are there no passengers
says,
at
would
the
it be
Reading
possible
end?
to get a more comprehensive scenario planner? I'd really like to make scenarios as complex as the stock ones. Unfortunately, that would be the editor that we use, and that is not coming out.
But what we are aiming to do, or what we hope to do, is get as close as possible to being able to create full, proper scenarios and services and timetables and that kind of thing within the scenario planner itself. The editor is off the table. It's a thing that is not happening. So a public full editor that allows you to build stuff from the ground up is not happening. So what we're trying to do instead is provide the kinds of tools to get you close. Won't ever be quite as good, but we're
There are
aiming
third
for
parties, there are
close.
there are developers getting involved and working with Dovetail Games, and in those processes it's possible to license the editor out, but a public editor for Train Sim World is not coming.
What's the date for the first roadmap in 2021? Is January the 12th. Okay, I wouldn't expect that one to be full of much. In fact, I expect to be spending most of that week writing it. Yeah. Can you elaborate on which 375 we're developing?
The 375, it is the 9. It's the /9 version, so this is the high density version.
Alright, good.
There you go.
Do we know that the BR363 custom liveries aren't showing up in timetable and journey mode? And the cement tanks? If that weren't enough, and the cement tanks.
That's fine. No,
If you've reported it, we're aware of it. It's just not... that you make us aware of a lot of stuff, and it's all tracked, but that it doesn't tend to enter front portion of consciousness until we actually start doing something with it. Yeah, there we go. What else have we got going on here?
More questions about the editor, just quickly. We wanted it. We had aspirations. We always envisaged that there would be an editor for Train Sim World 2. It's not our editor. It is Epic's editor. And as we worked through it, it became apparent that it wouldn't work. We couldn't continue down that path. We started off that way, and that's how it panned out.
Yeah, the problems with the editor are multifold. There's there are technical hurdles that can be overcome. The main one on a technical side being DRM based. where we ensure that you only have access to what you should have access to. But then you've also got a licensing issue going on in there, because we work with licensed companies. We have a duty of care based on the licenses that we own with them to ensure that those licenses are properly used, properly respected. If we open it up to the Wild West, well, we can no longer make that guarantee. We'll also have copyright infringement left, right, and centre, and we'll have zero control over stopping that, which will upset. And I'm using that word quite loosely. This is one of the holdbacks for livery sharing as well, is that if we've gone to a train company, mentioning no names, other than a very large chemical company in the US, and ask them if we can include their stuff in our simulators, and they say no. And then the following week, the community put out a fully fledged, perfectly skinned version of something that uses their livery, then we're in deep doo-doo. More than that, we have to pull that perfectly designed version back down again, so we get to look like bad guys twice. That doesn't do us any favours. And then the final piece of the editor puzzle is needs to be tested to work on console. And for when we're working with third parties right now, we do the console testing. Because we've got that pipeline completely set up of going through internal QA, and then what we call first party QA. So that's the platforms, the consoles themselves, their QA process, and then getting it up on the store in the first place. Now, if you are a highly experienced modder / semi-pro, even pro creator on using the Train Sim 1 toolset, Train Simulator toolset, I should say, all of that bit's foreign. That's all entirely new, and that's assuming that you managed to get to grips with the editor, which is no picnic, that will have had to have been stripped down in some way to make sure that DRM's properly protected and all of that kind of business. It's just a nightmare, which is why that's the only way we're running through it, because every time we try to push the edges of what will it take to get it out there, we just find more edges. There's just more problems to overcome, so we've decided not to go that route. Obviously, if you're a third party working with us and there's a contract in place and that kind of stuff, you get access to everything. But for home enthusiasts through to kind of semi-pros, we're trying to come up with an alternate way of doing things, and sharing is a big part of that, and that's something that we want to talk about when the time comes. Because sharing is not dead, let's put it that way.
A few people have said, why is this not an issue on TS 2021? It's because the editor was built with that engine, and it was Kuju and Railsim Developments and Dovetail Games that built that engine and that editor, so we own the editor that goes with that software. And
that horse has already bolted. We can't put that genie back in the bottle now. The best we can do is stick our fingers in our ears and look away from it when it comes to the legal side of things. Yeah, that's the absolute best we can do. Are we twins? No, because if we were twins, we'd be of a similar age. What you're confusing there is you've got two white dudes, right, that have got kind of similar length hair and a beard. That's pretty much where the similarity ends, but I mean, good effort nonetheless. Yeah, what else have we got? Anything else going on? Because I think we're about here.
Why is there no route next to the BR187? I don't know, actually. I'm pretty sure we do know the route. Skyhook are working on that logo. So the next roadmap, we'll get it on. We'll get the route on there. I don't know off the top of my head. I've been out for a week now. So we'll get it on the next roadmap.
Yeah, also, for any PC Master Race people present, playing on console is perfectly valid. The comment, nobody who is in any way serious about gaming, particularly simulations, uses a console. Get out.
Not at all.
Get off your high horse. Yeah. Nice pre-recorded gameplay. Yes, it's pre-recorded so that we can talk to you. See, The alternative would be just me and Muggins here, my brother, occupying half the screen each, and that's way too much screen to be dedicated to us. Why isn't Adam a part of the stream tomorrow? Because Adam's a special case. Yeah. How small may a third party be? Great question. Great question. That's one we're looking to answer. One of the things I'm trying to solve or trying to figure out alongside the team who look after third party is how can we get modders on board? Because there are some properly talented people out there. And therefore, if a modder wants to help make stuff for our game, why would we stop them? What do we need to do in order to make it so that they can help? Even if there are, contracts or NDAs or any kind of that sort of business going on, whatever. If that's what it takes, then okay, some people won't sign up. But some might, and we end up with better stuff. So it's not on the roadmap, it's not a promise, it's not on anything, but it is something that I am trying to make some headway on, because we're missing out at the moment, and you want to get stuck in, you want to make really swanky stuff and take advantage of Unreal and put us to shame with the stuff that you've got going on. Yeah, we want that too. We just got to find a route through it.
Yeah. As I say, we wanted the editor, but our hands are tied.
Yeah,
it wasn't going to work. Yeah.
No, it's just a case of beating your head against a brick wall trying to get it done. There are so many problems we can't get it over the line. Anything else? We're talking about modding with TS1's Rail Driver API that we could hook into. Is that something that's considered for TSW2? Yes, it is a similar kind of approach that's being attempted at the moment. Thank you, Adam. Yeah, you've been censored again. Yeah.
What's wrong with the rail driver?
Yeah, Matt is the best person to speak to. He might volunteer some information in the chat, but he's also on holiday, so he might not. He might just be here to correct us when we're horrendously wrong, which is, very irregularly.
Tube Fan says, would you hire someone as a third party to do scenarios? That's not third party, that would be second party. If we were to hire people to do the work. If you're third party, you're doing it for yourself.
Hold on. First party, we make it, right? It's a dovetail enterprise. Third party, entirely separate, completely on their own group, go, we've made this thing for your thing. We go, groovy, put it through the system. Second party, we go to a group of people and go, could you make us this thing for our thing? And those are the three parties. So that's 1, 2, 3 going on there. Do we play with any...
So really, actually, just carrying on that question, Tube Fan, if you want to approach Dovetail Games as a third party to make scenario packs, then get in touch.
Second party?
No, third party. If he wants to make the scenario packs, if he wants to pull that together. Okay.
All right. Okay.
If we were asking him to make the scenarios, that's second.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, yeah, all right, fair enough. Do you play with any community mods? I don't, because they're not supported, and it doesn't matter what. I worked on a lot of games. I never play with anything that's unsupported because I want to have the same experience as the majority of players, as much as possible. Yeah. While hardware gets in the way and all that kind of stuff. So no, don't touch community mods because we don't support them. I mean, that doesn't mean we go like, oh, they must be purged. No, if we're going to support something, it means we properly look after it. And the one thing you know for sure is we definitely don't look after mods. Yeah, right, good. Let's go through one or two more. Please fix TVM on the TGV route. It is buggy. Give us as much feedback as you can on that, Bram. Either submit it through our ticketing system or stick it up on the forums so that we can get as much detail from you as possible. That would be really helpful. Yeah. There you go. See, Matt's explained first, second, third party as well. He didn't like it as much as the explanation that you or I just gave. Matt's given
summary or detailed as well.
Whatever. Right. Okay. I think we're about there. Where was the crocodile on the roadmap and progress? It's not on the roadmap, and therefore there is no progress at the moment. If I recall Matt correctly, the crocodile isn't used that much by the TGV. I don't know if that's accurate or not. I don't think it is. But there you go. Xenos says, would we use outside sources to make route/train tutorials? Probably not, because we have an in-house creative team who put the videos together. All our trailers, all of the tutorial video we did today, our creative services team put that together. They hire from time to time if you want to come work for them. They're a fun bunch too. It'll be Matt's words, but you'll hear that it's quite polished, and that's what we try and do. Do companies ever offer a license, or do you have to reach out for them? Yes, to both. Sometimes they come to us, sometimes we go to them. There's no right or wrong answer. Has motion blur on/off been fixed in this road map? I saw earlier on that it wasn't remembering the setting on Xbox.
Yeah, so
but that's
it,
one
it
person's
was on
report.
our radar.
We need that one validating.
It is something that we had in the plan to work on, and then actually I was informed that a fix was already going out for it. So it's a fix that was done a month or so ago. So actually, if it's still a problem, then let us know. It can still be on the plans, but actually it was one of those where we were going to look at doing it, and then it was already fixed.
Wolfboy has made a suggestion I saw in Discord earlier on, which is, why don't we use drop downs so you can accordions, I believe they're referred to as in CSS terms, underneath different items to read more detail on them on the roadmap. We'd love to.
Can you do that on a per route basis?
Yeah, we could do that on a per route basis, but you know what we can't do it on?
The current roadmap?
The current website.
The current website? Okay.
No, it doesn't support that. Current website won't even let us change colour.
It's complicated, basically.
Okay, it's not complicated. Adam, it's crap.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Forgive me for calling a spade a spade. I'm getting into the festive spirit.
Love it.
Right. Okay. Thanks for the update. Wishing you a Merry Christmas. Okay, that's probably it. Will the
Yeah.
hold on. I'm going to do it because Nico's asked this about 5 or 6 times. Will the DB BR101 have a control car and IC coaches?
That's not my remit. It's not.
I don't know.
Okay.
There you go. That's your answer, and there we go. Let's finish as we like to go along. There, marvelous. How often is the roadmap updated? Normally every 2 weeks, but it'll be a bit longer this time around because we've got a Christmas break in between. We're back, but Adam isn't. Adam's back off on holiday again. I'm going to stay on holiday, but come back and stream some more. Yes, I am. I am going to stream some more. Tomorrow is the Bakerloo Line Challenge. I've done well, I think. I think I've done well. Which features Matt, Natalie, Jamie, and myself tomorrow. It's sure to be a festival of fabulousness for all involved. I don't even know how it's turned out, and I've got to edit that. So,
yeah, I was just saying.
That needs doing.
You've edited it to
look,
win.
so far I've got Matt's, which I haven't looked at, but I have it, and I've got my own. But I've not looked at it yet.
And what's to stop you just like switching whichever run is the best and writing your name on it?
That would probably get called. Not to mention the fact that I already know how we do. We need Mega Sim on the DTG team. If Mega Sim wants a job, take a look at the jobs we've got available. If any of you want a job, have a look at the jobs we've got available. We're always hiring.
Yeah, good on you, Meg Sim. Love the YouTube videos.
Yeah, he does a good job. What else? Okay, so just in case we don't put up the stream schedule next week, because everyone's on holiday next week, on Monday, someone will be running Colne to Aachen. Oh, hold on, it's me. Yeah, great. And then on Tuesday, it's Sandpatch Grade with Rail Driver. That's Matt and Jamie. Nice.
Will they both have the rail driver?
That's 29th. I don't think you can use 2 rail drivers to drive 1 train. There, Adam, use your loaf. And then on Wednesday the 30th, it's the end of year Q&A. What? That's me and Matt. How did I end up with that? Mike's going to said that I volunteered to do that, but I don't recall that. That's certainly not part of Well, I've said it now, so I guess it's happened. Yeah, he's typing right now. He said, "You said you'd do it. You signed
on,
up for
stop
that
blaring.
smiley face." Thanks, Adam.
That's fine.
Yeah,
Come on.
just say goodbye to the nice people, Adam.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching, all. Have yourselves a festive if we don't see you beforehand. But the Dream Team are on tomorrow, and I'm sure the burn will be real, and most of it will be directed at me, because that's the way I like it. Thanks for watching. Cheerio.
Have a great Christmas, everyone.